So today we're going to look at some unconventional finishes regarding ankle locks. So we're going to start in Ashi Garami, a basic ankle lock position. And a couple things regarding this entanglement. Sometimes it's considered a weaker option compared to some of the other leg entanglement options we can go into. However, it does give me a lot of mobility to switch and react to anything he is doing compared to some of the other alternatives for outside leg locks. When we're setting this up, it's very important that our outside leg is actively pressing against our partner so that if they try to come in, we can extend them away. And our inside leg needs to be aggressively pinched knee to ankle. I don't want to just lay my leg flat or have a lot of space between my limbs. I want to be driving this in as my outside leg is kicking. A common mistake is that with our outside leg, we'll have a flexed foot as we're trying to press them away. And what that'll do is expose our toes, which will make it easy for our partner to just take our foot off of the hip without a whole lot of effort. So what we want to do is be able to wrap our toes like we're gripping or hugging his ribs, and this will keep it pretty active. So if we have a flexed foot, we're pinching our knees and we're hugging our foot. If he goes for a lazy defense and just tries to push our foot off, we should be able to hold on to it pretty well. So once we have a strong Ashi Garami, we can go over finishing a basic ankle lock. What I do is make sure that my partner's ankle bone is inside my elbow pit and that I'm not up high on his calf or Achilles like a sock. I need to be able to slide down and expose that ankle bone into my elbow pit without there being any space. If we land in this position up high, I can use my second hand, press on his shin, and slide into position to lock this up. And from here, it's really easy for me to reinforce a double wrist lock to get this Russian grip, Sambo grip, and have his foot exposed the way I need it to be. His foot should be extended like a ballerina as I lock this position up. So once I have this secured, I'm pinching my elbow to my ribs. I'm driving my ribs into the side of his foot, and I kind of have his foot hugged on all four sides, and I've got my grip. Whether I keep the double wrist lock, or I decide to go to a high elbow, or any other grip, I'll keep this nice and tight, and I can start to go for the finish. To finish this ankle lock, I need to get my elbow to my partner's center line by jumping my elbow back and creating a bend in his knee. In that same motion, I'm also trying to bring my elbow to my hip, and I'm going to end up coming down to my shoulder, right? My hips can come up as my shoulder comes down, and then I can start to extend and stretch. I want to look over my left shoulder, start turning my chest towards the floor. So as I drop down, I can finish the ankle lock pretty easily right there. Notice that our hips are coming up. His are coming up because he's in pain. Mine are coming up because I'm leveraging them up. Even if I went to a different grip, as long as I'm following all the correct principles of bringing my elbow to his center line, creating a bend in his knee, and then dropping down with no space between my elbow and my hip, should be able to finish an ankle lock pretty quickly right there. Okay, so now we're going to look at an unconventional ankle lock finish that comes on relatively fast from the same position in Ashi Garami. I've landed with my overhook in our Ashi Garami position, but now I'm going to take my right leg out. I'm going to stomp on his hip and kick my outside leg all the way perpendicular. This is going to create a hard bend in his knee, get my hips to his hamstring, and now to finish this, I'm going to reach away from my partner to bring my chest towards the floor, trying to hide my bottom shoulder as I go. It's really fast. You can finish it with one hand. If you do have your hands together, you can still get this finish as long as you're hiding your shoulder and dropping your chest to the floor. But this works really well as a fast and very strong finish where I'm able to stomp, kick, and fall flat. So just some notes on going for this unorthodox finish for the ankle lock using the stomp on the hip. The initial idea or the initial fear or concern would be that by stomping on his hip, I'm being exposed to a corkscrew toe hold or an Aoki lock of some kind. However, when we are doing this in reality, I'm stomping on the hip and kicking all in one motion as I'm dropping down to my shoulder and going for the finish. If we get to this stomp position and he manages to remove our foot from his hip, I'm now just in double outside. I can maintain the spladle and I can start to come up and begin looking for alternative attacks, be it knee bars, switching to the inside, or simply passing. So with most traditional ankle lock finishes, we are extending our partner's foot on this linear angle here. With this unorthodox finish where I'm stomping on his hip, I'm actually folding his foot inside, similar to a toe hold, right? I'm going to be wrapping and bringing his shoelaces down and his heel up while controlling his knee line. So once I create that stomp and I kick out, I'm going to fold his foot under me so that the bottom of his foot goes towards the ceiling and his shoelaces go towards the floor with the rotation of my body. So the braking mechanics are more similar to a toe hold than a traditional straight ankle lock. Another unconventional finish from this position is going to be an Aoki Lock variation. Aoki locks are relatively popular, but one of the ways that we can get into a pretty strong Aoki lock from this position, especially if our partner has a straight leg and they're booting against the ankle lock, is I'm going to take an undercross grip underneath my partner's leg. I'm going to grab my shin, and then I can flex his knee away. All right, so now I can create the bend in the knee that I need for a proper ankle lock. But now because I have control over two joints, his knee and his ankle, I can move my body freely to create some space and get his heel onto my ribs for an Aoki lock. So now to finish from here, I can take a number of different grips for my Aoki lock, usually a figure four or hugging elbows. Doesn't really matter, but once I let go of my shin to go to my finishing grip, I've created this space with my arm. I need to take that space back with my hips as I come down to my shoulder, bringing my elbow to my belly button, his toes towards the floor, and his heel up to the sky. Again, you can finish any number of grips, so long as once we create the bend and get the space, we take the space back with our hips by driving our knees forward. So now we're going to look at if we have our leg entanglement set up correctly, but our partner knows the proper way to escape. He's going to take my foot off of his hip by bridging up and sliding through. I need to bring my outside leg inside for this short hook. I'm taking this butterfly hook underneath his leg. My inside leg is going to stomp onto his hip, and I'm going to wrap my toes to reinforce. I'm going to keep my knees pinched, and now from here with this butterfly grip, this short hook, I can go to all the same ankle lock finishes we did before. So I can go to my double wrist lock or my high elbow, so long as I finish the same way, bringing my elbow to his center line, my elbow to his hip, coming down to my shoulder, and then extending. With this same grip, because I have this short hook and this butterfly, my shin is going to act the same way that my arm did in the previous technique with the undercross, in that I can scoot my body out of the way to bring his heel to my ribs, take my preferred grip for the Aoki lock, and then finish that as well. Another finish that we can do from butterfly Ashi, utilizing the short hook when our partner defends, is going to be the Kazuko Lock. So once I have my short hook, my butterfly Ashi established with my outside leg, this time instead of stepping on my partner's hip, I'm going to wrap my leg below his knee by coming up onto my shoulder and knee, and I want to wrap both of my legs together across his shin. Now from here, I can just drop my hips and extend. I'm driving my knees away from my partner as my hips come down and my upper body extends. So now we're going to look at a couple of options using a long hook after our partner has escaped our Ashi Garami. So he does proper defense, takes the foot off. This time, I'm going to hook across to his far hip with a long hook. Now we're going to go for a long hook Kazuko Lock. Just like we did before, I'm going to get onto my shoulder and knee. I'm going to use my free hand to open his knee up as I come down to bring my foot inside like a triangle. From here, I'm pinching my knees together as I drop and extend. This can be a little bit more belly down. But the important part is that I'm pinching my knees and I have that long hook across his far hip. Okay, so now we're going to look at how we can still maintain Ashi Garami, even if our partner knows the correct defense, rotating his hips and pushing my heel down. I can reinforce my outside leg with my arm by holding my shin. So now it makes it very difficult for him to escape. Even if he elevates his hips and tries to rotate, I can maintain my position. So now he has to decide between trying to take my foot off the hip or trying to remove my hand. If he tries to remove my hand, he's no longer trying to remove my foot, and I can start to work towards my finish. As soon as he starts to try and remove my foot, I can go back to defending the position. And here, I'm trying to time as he struggles to go back and forth between these two objectives when I can go for my finish. As soon as he starts to try and attack my arm, I can work into my stomp and finish my modified ankle lock, or I can even still, as he tries to defend my arm, still be able to finish traditional ankle locks. Another way that we can reinforce this position is utilizing that same undercross that we used for the Aoki Lock setup, where now instead of grabbing over the top to reinforce my position by grabbing my shin, I'll take that undercross and I'll go here. Just as before, my partner should have a really difficult time taking my foot off of his hip. And now, because my arm is hidden underneath his leg, he can't actually fight my hand. So this will allow me to have some time to set up, either trying to finish a regular traditional lock, going to my Aoki, or even still stomping and going to my position.
One more. Defense. So, nice.
Baby,